Well, let's move on to our first topic for tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about thoughts on the Prime One Next Level Showcase. Again, me and I have an idea about Billy's thoughts. Definitely want to pick the brains of Eric and Matt. But did you guys have a chance to go back and watch it? I guess Matt, you were watching live over at Jimmy's channel.
Yeah.
So what'd you think?
I thought we were going to see one DC thing. I said, oh, hey, they're going to give us something, you know what I'm saying, type thing like that. But I was surprised that they gave us, the Berserk and then the Batman Who Laughs, with the Robin, with the Robins that XM basically didn't make and everything. I would say day one pre-order for me would be the Mr. Freeze. And I'm leaning toward the Berserk. I want to see more, but I think the Berserk is so unique and so it's got that oh shit factor, you know what I'm saying? So where people be like, oh, what is that? When they like go into your room or your cave or whatever, it's like, oh, what is that? Type thing like that. So definitely Freeze, Berserk, and then the Jungle. The Wolf Predator will be a day one for me.
It's a great piece. And I know we were talking, you called me the other morning, Matt. I think it was, what was it? Saturday morning.
It's Saturday. Yep.
And, we were talking a little bit about that Berserk piece. Did you see the picture of it next to the Lord of the Rings Soren piece? I have it for pictures later.
Yeah.
But I mean, that Soren is a third scale.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty big piece.
It's up there. It's up there.
I don't know if it's third. I think it still might be fourth, but I can't tell.
Yeah, their website says fourth. Okay. It says fourth, but I think it's going to be a big four. I think it's going to be kind of a hybrid in between, type thing like that. But no, I think with all the switch outs that you can get, and of course everybody's they love the switch out with the blood with the big axe, but that one where he's got the sword and he's like in front of it and it's like, got the blood dripping down and it's in the base.
You look great.
That one. I love that one. And then you talk about the base. I mean, Bane, you know what I'm saying? I mean, once I saw Bane, I was like, is that Bane? And, type thing. And then they said, yeah, this is Bane, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it just made it even better for me, type.
Which one do you think will be more expensive, that or Freeze?
Oh, that's a hard one.
I know it is.
And that is a real, I would not bet money on it. But I think, because that's kind of a,
probably Freeze because you get two characters now.
Yeah, I'd say Freeze. I'd say Freeze because of the cylinder with Nora, you know what I'm saying, type thing. And it's going to be a light up. So, I mean.
Yeah, probably so.
But that would be tough. That would be, I would not bet money on it, put it that way.
Eric, what have you had a chance to watch the whole show, or do you just kind of like watch recap bits and pieces?
I cheated a little bit. Delaney posted all the photos in his group, so instead of watching the show, I just looked through the photos. I don't know, like it's a lot of whatever it was, gaming stuff, anime stuff that I'm not really interested in. And then the DC stuff, it was, I mean, besides Freeze, it's like they keep doing like these oddball pieces, and it's like it's always like, why? I mean, as cool as they look, it's like, why are they doing that and not like other characters? But yeah, I mean, I think they look cool. I like. Although that Batman Who Laughs, so I forget what it was like, the King
Batman Who Laughs,
King, yeah.
I really like what XM did better as far as concept goes, with like whatever his pose with the Robins on the bottom versus the Prime One. But again, two different scales. But I thought it was cool. And like Matt was saying, I really love that effect that they did with the blood dripping off the weapon and then using that as like a support.
Yep.
That was a pretty clever idea and it looked really great. But I don't know. It's like, Chris, would you, buy something like that? Like, there's a lot of Batman collectors that I don't see picking that up. It's like, as cool as it is.
That's the problem I have with it. And I was talking with Matt and Dan too about it. Like, it's just that, like, I really like the concept. My favorite thing about it though is the Bane base. Like and Dan said the same thing. It's like, we love the Bane, but we don't love Batman as much. And so I know exactly what Prime One's doing. I think that they're trying to bridge that gap from everybody that does like the video game and anime stuff. It kind of bridges that gap. And so they're trying to hit that sweet spot. And I think it's specifically in the Asian market. I don't know about United States. I don't know how well it'll sell here. But
yeah, I would be curious how those pieces are selling.
Yeah, I think that's
even going back. I'm looking at the piece over your shoulder, the Jimenez Batsuit Joker. Again, another oddball piece. It's like they keep that Hellbat armor suit that they did. The big, again, really cool pieces, but it's like, who's coming up with the idea to make these instead of like different characters?
Well, and that's the thing though, is that that's what people want. But when it comes to buying them, you know, how many people? What was it? 100 Batsuit Jokers. You had it for a bit. You sold it. You know, who knows if I'll have mine forever? I don't know.
But yeah, it's like you said, they're trying to bridge it. I mean, if you compare that to like rushing Riddler ahead, of course, you know, something as crazy as like, you know, these oddball pieces is going to look better than just like some Riddler standing on a, you know, simple base. So I see where they're going with their strategy, but it's like, hopefully they're selling for them. I don't know.
I just don't know if it's, for me personally, I just don't know if it's Batman enough. But again, like I was saying to them, like I really feel like that I did the exact same thing about Samurai. Like I didn't get it. I didn't understand Samurai Batman. I was like, who would buy that? Like obviously XM doesn't have like the real DC license because they would just they couldn't do comic book stuff. They would just do their own stuff. And then that obviously changed over time. But then I got one in hand. I'm like, holy crap, this is actually really amazing. Is it Batman? Yes. Is it still Samurai? But there was enough Batman there for me to say, okay, I get it, but somebody else seeing it, they might not understand it, especially like Shugo and some of those other ones.
Kind of reminds me of the Batman versus that Joker dragon. You had that piece at one point.
Right. Yeah.
Like they're going into this like barbarian version of Batman.
We were talking about that with Dan the other night, and he's like, "You had that piece?" I'm like, "Not for long.
Yeah,
I think I had it for a month."
Well, I think it's going to be a low edition number though, too. I think it's going to be a low edition number. I don't see them printing, 1,000 of these things.
Yeah. So I was like thinking, like, how are these pieces selling? I mean, they look cool, but I have absolutely no connection to what they are. I know nothing about them.
Yeah.
Bill, you've had a chance to sit on stuff for a couple of days. Did you have any ideas about that piece or any of the other ones you liked?
That Berserk is a phenomenal piece of art, but I would like if I didn't know it was Batman, I would think Lord of the Rings or something like that. It's just, I'm gonna say it again, it's just not Batman enough. Like even with the samurai pieces, you could tell that it was Batman, especially there was one specific head. You could tell it was Deathstroke or Robin or Red Hood. They weren't that far off from the character where you knew who they were. This thing I would not know who it was. What I would think it looks awesome, but as far as like to put it in a Batman collection, like for your collection or even mine or Eric's, where we have the traditional rogues and it just wouldn't fit. Like even when we're talking about the Joker Dragon, you had that for like a month. It was in and out so fast, Dan didn't even know you had it.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like I agree with you 100% that I love the art.
Absolutely.
Like the artistry of it's amazing. But I wonder, do you think that they would do any like companion pieces to kind of help that story along, or do you think it'll be a standalone?
If that one sells, they'll do more.
Yeah,
I could see them doing like absolute Batman because that kind of goes into like that, right? Where he's like walking around with axes and stuff.
I would 100% buy absolute Batman.
Right, but that's more Batman. You see him; he just looks like a bulky Batman, and he's like, okay, well, I know it's Batman.
That's more like Dark Knight Returns Batman-ish kind of, that really thick Batman. But obviously, whenever I first saw Absolute Batman and I saw the images of it, I didn't get it. I'm like, whoa, this is weird. But then when I started reading the actual story, like the story's great.
Yeah.
And I've only read just a small portion from Scott Snyder, so I'm anxious to read more. But I would love to see an absolute. What did you? I know Eric, you were talking a little bit about kind of being sort of ho hum on Freeze. Like what has you hung up on it?
Well, here's what's making me possibly want to buy it. I know I'll probably never see another 1/3 Freeze. I think this is going to be the only one, unless Legendary Beast Studios does it. But that'll be like 4 years from now. And I do really like Nora. I think Nora looks fantastic. And on my bottom cubes, I like to put like larger pieces, and the fact that they are like two big pieces that would take up a lot of space, assuming that they would even fit down there. I like that idea. I just didn't like how he's kind of like off to the side. I mean, again, I get it. They had to turn his head, so this way you see his head instead of like, because the original art, like you said, it looks like Sean Murphy's art. And in Sean Murphy's art, he's like touching the glass and he's looking right at her. So you see that emotion of like him, kind of like feeling helpless and wanting to help her. It's where on the Prime One piece, I feel like that gets lost in translation of the concept where he's just kind of standing there off to the side. So I mean, it still looks cool. I think the suit looks absolutely crazy with the details. Maybe a little too crazy for my liking. Again, I would have to see it in person, but I think Nora looks beautiful. And yeah, I think it's going to be. The other thing is, it's like I think it was Billy that said it during the show, because I did pop in every so often. How is it going to look next to other statues, like mainly like Chris, your collection, or Billy's collection, where you guys have statue after statue after statue of like just a single character, and now all of a sudden you have like, although I guess you have other Diehl's in your collection, but I don't know. It's a different take. It's not, it's two characters, but it's not dynamic. It's kind of like more of like this sad looking statue, just like, with the two of them. So it's a different take on, Freeze.
Yeah, I mean, most of these were like museum poses, or like you said, there's some sort of action to them, where this is very much not that. It's very much like it's sad, it's just a sad, but to me, that's the thing I love about the Freeze character is that, bad guy or not, like he's doing it just to save his wife. And so like that really captures that, and that Heart of Ice storyline. And it is different, but I think that's why I like it even more, is because, it is different. Now, I mean, there's nothing to say that they might, if that is the only version they offer, maybe they will offer, complete arm swap out where he is like got the gun, like he's fighting Batman, toward the viewer, to protect Nora from, or whatever. So I think there's some possibilities there. I think there's some creative outlets, but it could just simply be that. It could just be the hand up. But knowing Prime One, I think they'll definitely have some swap out options, and probably a pivoted head. Maybe looking more at Nora, looking more at the viewer. So I'm really excited about that. This perfectly sums up Namek. It humanizes Mr. Freeze, and it really does. And it just tells that story, and that story is done so beautifully. And again, it really comes down to that image by Sean Murphy. And again, I said this in my video the other day. It was really funny because I was talking with Johnny a couple years back, maybe now, and I said, I really want you to do Mr. Freeze touching the glass with Nora. And he kind of laughed it off at the time. It's like, could you even imagine how expensive it'd be, and blah blah blah. It's like maybe we could do it in 1/4. But he was just kind of poo-pooing me on it. And then lo and behold, that's exactly what they're doing. So I'm really glad, whether I helped influence that decision for them to even do that kind of pose. I'm hoping that I did.
Probably. I mean, it's straight. It's pretty much the Sean Murphy artwork, except he's kind of like off looking away from her. And
I hope I did inspire that, because I think it's exactly what I think a lot of Mr. Freeze fans want. The price maybe not, and again, I'm really shocked that they're doing third scale, but maybe maybe their third scales are still doing slightly better than some of their quarter scales have sold. Maybe I don't know. Like City of Bane, I bet that one hasn't. Well, maybe it's waitlisted. Maybe City of Bane.
It's waitlisted. Yeah,
is
City of Bane is waitlisted. Their sideshow in a lot of places. So yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, I guess there's been a lot of like Batman versus Killer Croc. So I guess maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's doing just as well. But thank you for throwing us third scale collectors a bone with that Freeze piece. And again, I've seen a ton of comments saying about 1/4. I will try to do some digging. A lot of people have asked if I can contact Johnny and beg them for 1/4. I think it's possible, but I don't think it'd be possible anytime soon. I don't, like I said earlier, I don't think that they would do them at the same time, because I think that would really hurt their third scale sales.
I think if the third scale sales, they'll do a 1/4.
Yeah. It'd be awesome if they could somehow get Nora to fit in front and behind him. That's so cool. Maybe the base could rotate a bit. Again, anything's possible with that piece. It is still, being tweaked as we speak. Martin says, "Give yourself credit, Chris. This platform has a voice that most don't reach." Well, again, thank you very much. Like I said, I always try to be a voice for the community if I can be, whether it's good or bad. But I know there has been some of my thoughts and some of your thoughts, some of the rogues' thoughts that we've relayed to the statue companies, and lo and behold, they end up doing them. Because we're all part of this community and we understand what people are asking for on a daily basis. So that's definitely a mission of mine, is to try to like put a little earworm in everybody's ear, like, hey, let's get these characters, let's try it, because I think people are asking for it. So much to the chagrin of some companies, because they don't like to take the risk. So again, it goes back to
Freeze is a big character, because of the suit and everything. Now you have like this cryo chamber, and I'm looking at my Arkham. It is ridiculously big. I can only imagine, like, I mean, you got to figure this Freeze must be somewhat the same size, because he's a guy in a suit with a dome on his head. He's holding the freeze gun. It's got to be. I'm not saying the exact same size, because I think the Arkham pieces might have been a little overscaled.
They are,
right, yeah, but still, like it's still going to be big. Then you have a chamber. Even though she's cut off at the knees, she's still a 1/3 statue. It's going to be massive.
I mean, you have to think more along the lines of like the Batman versus Joker diorama. You have to start thinking in that mindset. It's not going to be as big as that.
No,
but it will be very square and rectangle shape. It'll be
Doomsday
very large.
And Superman, where Superman was kind of like coming on top of Doomsday. That, and then we just talking about price. There were 3 different versions of that, and that was, I think, $2,500 to $2,700 for the 3 different versions of that, right?
Yeah.
This thing, by the time it goes up for pre-order, if you just like think about it, everything goes up in price, right? Materials, all that stuff. The suit is so intricate, more so than a Superman suit or a Batman suit. So that's more work to be done. Now you're talking about 2 characters with the dome and this big base, possible swap outs. This could easily be $3,000 plus. Never mind the shipping.
Shipping's gonna be crazy.
Easy. Shipping's gonna be crazy. Probably, I mean,
you have those glass domes. They're gonna separate them, away from everything else in the box. Make sure they don't break.
I think something that big is going to be plastic.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way to do glass.
Yeah.
Joker and Batman was 3 boxes, right?
Yeah.
So you could figure this is probably going to be in 3 boxes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then you look at what shipping costs could be in a couple of years, because this won't be shipping for a couple of years. This thing could be pushing $3,500.
Here's the thing. I think you're light, because Matt here got the tactical throne. He got the deluxe version with the Batcave, 3 boxes, and he's over $800.
Yeah, I'm like $945.
No, Jesus.
So let's just say the ballpark is close to $4,000.
4,000.
Let's just say that.
See, they're not going to let that happen, though. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be 3,000 just because of the number.
It's not. Don't look at it today. Look at it in a couple of years when this thing is fixing to go up for pre-o, and then, I mean, I'm sure they already have an idea of materials and resin, which is always going up in price.
Sure.
Okay, and then they're already like, you start adding these things up. I don't think they're going to make very, very many of them, because at that price point, some people are going to be priced out. Dan said it the other day. He said, "Oh yeah, I like it, but for me, it's going to be an economical decision." He's not going to pay upwards of $3,000 for it, this thing. So I don't know.
You know what though? Dan is full of crap, because he hasn't been enabled yet. That's to say, we're going to work hard on him. We will.
All right, that's him. Okay, fine. We can work on him, but other folks are just going to be like, no, that's just way too much. So
sure.
I think, like, this could easily be one of those 150 ES, 100, just like with Triumphant. Why is there only 130 of them? Because nobody ordered it when it first went up. Same thing with the one you just canceled. There wasn't very many of those. Before the edition size is set, it's based off of sales. They're not going to make these things and have them just sitting in the warehouse, right?
Right.
Yeah. So off the bat, it just might be too expensive.
I think
think
Triumphant
that-
was also bad timing because Triumphant was very close to Detective 1000, and a lot of people purchased Detective 1000.
Right, but Triumphant was also part of a Diehl. You didn't have to display
Yeah.
it that way, but it
Sure.
did. It is meant to go with the Penguin,
right.
and the Penguin sold out.
The Batman versus Joker diorama, I think, was like 2,600, probably closer
Yep.
to $3,000 all in.
Still
Yeah.
available.
So it's still it is.
It's still available because it has to be. It's not because that piece is not awesome. So what could it be?
Takes up space.
Space, right?
Space.
and the price.
So like and that was what 2 years ago. So I do think that if Prime One was smart, they would price Freeze. They've got to price it under $3,000. They have to.
Oh yeah, it's not going to be $3,000. I'm telling you right now, they're not going to put that label on it. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be 26, 27.
And then you figure plus the shipping.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, the shipping once you add that in, if just the price is 26, 27, once you add the shipping, it's going to be way over $3,000. I don't think about it like, okay, this is the price of it. We're always thinking about the shipping because that's part of it. It's not going to get to your house until you pay the shipping. So that's part of the whole thing. Matt just paid $800 something.
$940.
Well, see, I don't think about shipping.
How much was it, Matt?
Maybe I think of it differently, maybe. But to me, the shipping on no matter what we order, because shit at my house with all the kids, something's coming every fucking day. You know what I'm saying? But for me, shipping is just the cost of doing business.
It's a cost of doing business, but it's still a cost. It has to be considered. Like, you know,
like when I go to Disney, I don't like, oh, well, hey kids, we're going to Disney now. You can't get shit, but we're going to Disney. No, it's ball out because it's the cost of doing business.
Right. It's still the cost. It's part of it. And it's something that you have to factor in. That's just how it goes. And when someone is considering this piece, they're going to be like, wow, how much is shipping going to be? And that might make or break you, especially when it's $800, $900. That's just the fact.
And that's the thing too, is like, I whenever I first started collecting, I was more of the mindset that Matt just said, because like, oh, it was like $45 to ship a premium format. It was $45, and then it crept up to like, oh, it was $100, and that sucks. And then you get to the point now though, where if the shipping is the same cost as what a premium format would have been, that's a large chunk of change for most people. And so I agree with Billy on that. That's why I keep my spreadsheets. I keep track of how much I've paid, what my deposit was, how many points I've used, what shipping estimate is. Of course, that always freaking changes, but that does factor into what you're totally going to spend.
Tax factors in too.
Tax is even worse. Like, and that's why I like
the Sideshow didn't have tax.
Yeah, that's why I like to buy from Prime One, is because I don't have to pay the tax.
They're also inflating the freaking shipping.
Yeah, so
you're not paying taxes, but you know you're paying it somewhere.
Yeah, so it's just this piece is, you're going to take a hit on this piece if you get it. I mean, regardless, it's going to be a lot of money, but I also think it might be considered one of the best Mr. Freeze statues. I think it's going to have a tremendous amount of presence. I love that they included this beautiful sculpt of Nora. I think they did a great job on her. But time will tell. It'll be really interesting to see what the edition size is when all is said and done on it. The Prime One pieces, there hasn't been very big edition sizes in the last 3 years. Has there been one over 300 or 400 edition size and anything lately? I don't
Tactical
think so.
I think it's
maybe Tactical Throne.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a small edition size though.
Agreed.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. You guys keep jacking up the price when the companies are watching these videos.
That's
right. Under $2,000.
Yeah. It's like I'm going to predict right now that it's only going to be $1,000 plus shipping. So we'll just fingers crossed they'll listen to that. But we've talked a lot about Freeze. Is there anything else that especially Matt and Eric that you guys saw, even in photos of things like that Morgan? I thought that was a phenomenal looking piece. I really like that one a lot. I think it would really pair up really nice with their Vampirilla that they did. But what else did you see that you thought was just from an art standpoint that you thought was pretty cool?
Those robots with the catwalks and the little
Oh
people
yeah.
that were
Yeah, my son wants that. I texted him a picture. He's like, pre-order it for me. And I'm like, it's not even up for pre-order, genius. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I was like, you got to wait 2 years. So.
Does he know what that is? Does he have a connection to that story?
Yeah. He's got a so I can see myself pre-ordering that one for Christmas or for a birthday one day. You know what I'm saying? He's the one who got like the 3 Transformer statues this past Christmas. So it's like, he's got the statue bug now. You know what I'm saying? Type thing like that.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
That's awesome, but not great also because it's so expensive.
Well,
That's the
I'm
problem.
like, your job can pay for this. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'll pay for shipping, but you can pay for this with your job. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. But yeah.
Jargon 2, $5. He said, man, that BES Batman's so big, 1/4 scale. Yeah, I don't know what he means. Are you talking about this? I'm not sure if you're talking about that piece. Jargon, let me know in another comment which piece you're talking about. But thank you for the super chat. Thank you very much. Eric, what else did you see that you thought was pretty cool?
To be honest, I didn't really look at all the other stuff. Just
way to show prep, Eric.
I know. I know we were talking about. I thought we were just going to talk about the DC stuff.
I'm just giving you crap. I wouldn't
remember the name of the other pieces anyways. I don't know.
I like that Wolf Predator that they did at the very end. The Wolf Predator. So
let me go look at it real quick.
Yeah, I'll probably be getting that day one. That'll be a day one pre-order because I've got the Jungle Hunter Predator. I was late to the game, but I got it coming from Japan from Prime 1 now. It's on the boat. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
It's awesome. There was a couple of things I wanted to address really quick too, and I did a video on this. I think it was today's video, talking a little bit about the mistake I made of Prime 1 Studio saying that their Elite Master line was going to be a better tier. And I went on talking about how it's not really fair to the lower tiers, like it's going to be less quality. And God bless Johnny, their creative director, watched my hit or miss video, which I thought was really great. And he actually responded to a couple of points. And the first one was that the Elite is going to just be their standard. It's not going to be a tier. It's just that's what they're going to call it from now on. Just to kind of relay the fact that they're trying to take the paint applications and the sculpts to the next level, which actually was really cool because the actual sculptor that's doing all of the Elite line, they actually responded and posted in my my video today and said that, it was really cool for us to acknowledge the new lineup, and we're so excited. And so I responded, I said, what pieces are you doing? And this sculptor is doing all of those.
Oh, cool.
All of those. Superman, everybody that they've shown so far, he's done. Because I was just saying, it's really, next level of what they're doing with their sculpts. It always used to be Hot Toys or Blitzway. Now Prime 1's also in that same category, I think, along with Infinity and Queen and some of the others, J&D. But anyway, I thought that was really cool that he chimed in. I thought that was really neat. Yeah. The other thing that I complained about with the my miss, and Billy can attest, and I know Matt can too, with those that watched it live, was the pacing. It was brutal at times with the back to back packages. And Johnny actually responded to that as well. And he said that, they are trying to get as many eyes on product as they can. They wanted it to be a longer show, so more people will watch and create revenue on YouTube. And that's exactly what they did. They have a tremendous amount of views on their video from Next Level, in the tens of thousands. And so it's awesome to see. And so that's why they made it so long, is because they wanted to stretch it, to keep that viewership going as long as possible. Again, for revenue, and also, of course, eyes on product, which is what we've been talking about, how important that is. That's why we want them to go to conventions and things like that. But I did think that was interesting that he did chime in about that.
Did they group it like the franchises? Like, here's the DC stuff, here's the anime stuff, or they're like, here's Mr. Freeze, and then 2 hours later, here's
no, they did the DC stuff back to back.
Okay.
They did mostly. They kind of did some anime and then some video game and then back to anime. I mean, it was kind of. I don't really. I don't know that stuff.
They sprinkled in the anime all over the show.
Yeah,
I just went through all the pictures. Honestly, I'm not really blown away by any of the anime stuff. I mean, it's nice, but this piece looks kind of cool. Whatever this green blue fantasy pieces. But yeah, like Matt said,
Yeah.
like the Wolf Predator, the Transformers stuff, that stuff. I would say that's some of the best statues I've ever seen. Is like
Yep.
the Transformers, the aliens. I think like when it comes to details, those things are insane.
But again, I hope that with their next show that they do maybe just try to pace that just slightly different. Again, I am somebody that likes the behind the scenes stuff. I know not everybody likes that stuff. I'm the same way about Disney. Like I love the Imagineering stuff. I want to see the behind the curtain stuff. That's like really important to me, but I don't always need to see it live. I want to watch it kind of at my own convenience. So that's just one of those ones where, it is what it is. But I saw a lot of comments that felt the same way. It was just like, it's kind of a snooze fest there for a while. So hopefully that's something, because I feel like their past shows have been a lot better in terms of pacing, but I understand from a business standpoint. Yeah, they want to stretch it, and okay, they did. But I also think that they probably lost some viewers as well.
Their production value is top notch, so nobody does it better.
No,
nobody does it better.
They are absolutely phenomenal. Like I always feel like the best in the business is the WWE. When you talk about video packages and just the way that they present their product, and so much so that every other sport has copied them. And that's been that way since the 80s. But I feel like in terms of statue collecting, it reminds me of WWE in terms of like they just put so much effort, and it just looks cinematic and beautiful and artistic. And I just really dug what they did. And I think they continue to get better with each show. But like I said, I just feel like some of that probably could have been left out and done as a separate video, and people would have still watched that were interested. But I do worry that like, okay, you're in hour 2.5 and you're watching this 3 video back-to-back promo. How many people like lost interest and didn't even see the Wolf Predator at the end? Because it just was. I mean, obviously we stuck around because we were doing a live stream. But that, if that was me at home by myself on the couch, I might have skipped it and came back to it or whatever. Like I just like, I don't really need to see this right now. So anyway, that was my only advice. But I understand again, and I do appreciate Johnny responding, because I think that's awesome that he actually goes in the group sometimes and responds to people. So anyway, I think obviously the 4 of us were very interested in the DC stuff. Mr. Freeze was definitely the biggest probably highlight of the night. Batman Who Laughs, King Batman Who Laughs, I thought was really cool. It was a nice surprise, especially since a lot of people like Stewart was saying that there wouldn't be any DC, and it's just like I just knew there would. It's like they're not done; they're just slowing down, and clearly they're still throwing us DC collectors a bone.
Well, they came out with a photo, like a collage of photos Prime 1 did, showing like basically coming soon. So these will be the ones that are up for like pre-order first. And the Berserk Batman is in there. So he'll be coming up for pre-order. Then the Scorched Alien, then some anime pieces, and then the Jungle Hunter, the Wolf Predator. So Berserk will be coming up. It'll be, as far as DC-wise, it'll be the first one.
Yeah, I'd say I would guess Mr. Freeze. Like I'm just going to predict Q4, possibly Q1 of next year for pre-order.
Wow, you think so?
I do.
I think Q4. I think they'll, I think they'll probably do Q4 just because it's Christmas. They know people are spending money. You know what I'm saying? Okay, hey, here's some money. You know what I'm saying? Type thing.
I hope so, because I just feel like they just, that's one that so many people are interested in. You have to capitalize on the hype.
Yep, exactly.
Because if like 20 people in this chat right now want to buy it, but you waited another 1.5 years and there's all the other cool stuff that they've shown, that Sideshow shows or Infinity or whoever else, then you're like, now I don't really want it anymore. And they lost the sale.
Yep.
So capitalize. That's what we've been saying for a long time. Capitalize on the hype, which again is why, were you guys surprised that they didn't show the Hush Catwoman? I mean, with all the Jim Lee hype right now, it's Hush 2.
I thought if they only showed one DC thing, I thought they were going to show that Hush Catwoman.
We're also guilty of saying the exact opposite of what you said, where we say, can you at least just show us what's going to be coming in the future? This way we can plan for our collection. And that's pretty much what they're doing. They're showing us what's coming, but it's going to be a long way.
Long wait. Yep. That's true. So anything else you guys want to say about Next Level?
No.
No, I wish I would have seen Riddler though, but yep.
Yep.
Well, and Riddler too is
I wonder if he's going to be next level, with the details. And all.
Yes, they've already said he is,
Okay.
and it's that next level of paint. And again, Johnny sent me some renders, which some of them have been revealed already with his face, and kind of like that detail. So I'm really excited to see what they do with that. I think that I'm kind of surprised that they didn't show a little bit more of him at this showcase, actually, because he's a lot further along in development than Freeze is.
Well, that's why I didn't order the sideshow Riddler, because I'm like, I know Prime 1 is doing one, so it's like,
Sure.
I'd rather have the Prime 1 with the detail, than the sideshow. Put it that way.
Hey guys, thank you so very much for watching today, and if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button right here on the screen and check out these 2 awesome videos. I think you're going to love them. And also please join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I would love to have you join in all the fun. Thank you guys so very much for watching. See you in the Batcave.